I just scared her. Look, there's a little shoe in that tree right there. A little shoe. Actually, a little shoe. Just came across a couple guys with flat bottom boats, John boat. They're out there kind of sifting through the water. Got a little sifter, probably about waist deep. Not even waist deep, probably knee deep right where they were. And sifting through the water and looking for some shark's teeth, I'm assuming, but didn't really speak with them. I was concentrating on a log that was falling across the river that I had to skirt around the left side. And we got another one right here that's, I figured with the storms, like I said, that we're going to have some problems, but we should be able just to skirt right through here, and we'll kind of hit a paddle left here and scoot around that little guy. Bumpity bump, bump. Yeah, got a feeling we're going to have some obstacles. I didn't think we'd have as many going downriver, but I think we will. Should be a fun one. Yeah, it's going to be a fun one today, I think. I'm not going to do a whole podcast or anything, but I'll check in with you occasionally, make a couple videos, I guess. But just put in back at the Aqua River Park landing, and we're going to do a low tide paddle today. And I tell you what, it is truly low tide. And we're going to see what's doing. Saw a couple kayakers up here ahead of me. We'll catch up with them and pass them. I mean, I'm putting the paddle in the water at about 2 feet right now, maybe in the middle. Excuse me. When you come up to these bends, one thing you gotta pay attention to, especially if you're heavier and you're excuse me, you got a little more depth in the water. Come up on these turns like this, you don't want to take the inside turn. You know, if you're trying to save some speed on a long distance journey or something, maybe you take the inside corners to cut off some distance, but overall you want to take the outside path. That's going to be a little bit deeper. The inside is going to collect a little bit more sand and debris. How you doing?
Hi there.
What's that? Oh no, you're fine. I like getting people in the video. I didn't think there'd be this many people out in the heat of the day, but
Yeah. Go upstream and you won't find anybody.
right, I normally do, but during high tide. Thank you. You too. Yeah, I mean, there's 2 people right there, and you know, we're coming up on at least 3 more boats. Looks like 4 more people. But anyway, got the Aqua River Park on the left over here. I'm not sure exactly what's on the right, if it's part of any private land or public land or what it is over there to the right. But we're gonna see if we can see some gators today. Low tide, you'll normally see some gators on the shore. All right, I looked up north, going upriver, and there was some new debris right past the bridge there. So definitely those storms that came through last night, there's going to be some more debris, I think. All right. Oh yeah, I guess I can maybe just keep doing videos, and we'll make an obstacles part 2 on the river. Got a feeling we're gonna have to portage up here, which means get out the boat. I don't know if it's French. I don't know what that word is. But I could maybe slide around this left side. Quite possibly I'm gonna have to get out and at least step across. It is shallow. So I got a good feeling we can probably inch our way through here. And the tide's definitely going out to a low tide right now. Oh, and that little limb right there on the left kind of pushed me to the right. Let's see if we can push out underneath here. I think the flow is all right if I can just angle the boat. Come this way. The thing is, we're doing that boot scoot, by the way, guys. The thing is yeah, I got a 13-foot boat, so it's a little tougher to maneuver than my 10-foot wreck kayak that I got. But we got through there. Oh, I was going to show you some turtles, but they jumped off the log up there when they saw me coming. They're like, fuck that guy. That guy looks like trouble. He's making a bunch of ruckus back there. So there we go. That's, I forgot to start my activity app. So we're very short into this paddle already, and I think we've already had four obstacles with it. Hey, we got a little tiny rapid up here. That thing in current, because if I don't have a lot of weight in this boat kind of travels a little bit. You know, like I said, 13 feet. Oh, I got a little class 1 rapid. Okay, hold on. Oh, hold on. It's a shallow rapid, by the way. Should have stayed a little bit more. I thought center would be the way to go, but I should have stayed a little bit more left, that looks like. This boat has seen plenty of bottoms. And yes, I'm talking about the bottom of the river. But I've seen a lot of my bottom as well, you know. A lot of my bottom. But yeah, this current's kind of pushing me around a little bit because I don't have enough weight in the boat. You know, I got just myself kind of back of center. So normally I would have, you know, a lot of weight up in the bow. I would normally carry my cooler up there with foodstuffs and some liquids, you know. That's going to add 20, 30 pounds, and then I'd have my 2.5 gallon water bladder up there. You know, here's another turn here, so you want to stay to the right because that left side over there is going to be quite shallow going around the bend to the left. That's where all the sand and dirt and soot and everything collects. What was I saying? So yeah, I have a 2.5 pound or 2.5 gallon water bladder on board as well, forward in the bow, all the way up tucked into the front of the boat. And 2.5 gallons, so you got about 8 pounds per gallon of water. So what's that? You're looking at 16, 17, 18, 19, you're looking at another 20 pounds up front with the cooler. So now you're talking 40 pounds-ish. That helps kind of guide and steer the front of the boat a little bit better. Keeps it from drifting. And then, you know, on an expedition like I might be doing with the Erie Canal, of course, I'd be riding with a, I said I wasn't going to do a vertical video again, but here we are. Oh, there's a little turtle. Hey, buddy, you don't have to go anywhere. They're always so skittish when they jump off a log pretty quickly. But, yeah, what was I saying? So an expedition, you know, if I was going to go out through the Erie Canal, something like that. Even tomorrow, if I get to go out to the, well, tomorrow I wouldn't, but, you know, a long expedition, let's say the Erie Canal, I'd actually have my bucket in the back as well with all my camping gear, so that would be another 40 pounds or so, and then I'm going to have some wheels, some motors that I just purchased. I will have wheels as well, 40 wheels, but cart wheels. But I also just bought a pack motor yesterday, last night. Hopefully it'll get here in time for me to do the canal if I decide I'm definitely doing it. And it's going to add between the battery, the 16-volt battery, lithium phosphate battery, and the motor itself, you're looking at about another 24 to 25 pounds. So I had that to my bucket weight in the back with all my gear, camping gear, clothing, some extra supplies, first aid, you know, all that type of bullshit. I'll have another thing on the thwart, on the front thwart where I connect my camera mount. I'll have another dry bag attached to that with some stuff in it, you know, sunscreen, maybe lip balm, chargers, you know, power banks for the phone, stuff like that. And probably you know, a multi-tool, knife, just those types of things up front, so that I have another few pounds. But you know, once you stack it all out and you get all the weight in it, it actually performs very, very well. It actually performs the least when you don't have any weight in it. So trust me, we got a lot of weight in it right now because I'm fucking heavy. But something like the Charleston Harbor out before Sumter, if I get to do that, weather permitting, tomorrow evening, I would probably just throw my water bladder in the front. That would give me 20 pounds up there, just to kind of steer the bow a little bit. Probably wouldn't worry about too much in the back. Of course, I'll have my flotation device. I'll have my lower light bilge pump and those type of things. All right, how y'all doing? Yeah, it's doing all right. A couple bad spots upriver a little bit with some fallen trees, but nice. Absolutely. It's fun getting around them sometimes too. Yeah. Some chats with some people today. We got a couple of buildings up front. Be right back. Yeah, it's funny when you come out. I just missed it here right in the middle of the river, but it's funny when you come out at low tide and you get to see, you know, all the stuff that you don't see during high tide, all the stuff that you're just flowing over effortlessly on a high tide paddle. It can cause you a lot of issues on a low tide paddle. You kind of look up over here. You know, we're looking at the side of Dorchester Road over here, so this is probably, without looking at a map, I want to say this is Ashboro East, I think. So, all these nice houses up on the river. Of course, you know, once the tide comes in, you can see, you can see the marsh over there. There's a blue heron right there in front of us, right past my dime. He's just kind of hanging out. But you can see, you know, the water line comes up all the way to the horizon. You can see the water line on that dock right there, actually. Goes up pretty much right to the bottom for the most part. You know, unless you've got some high rains, and then it comes up even further. Sometimes into the backyard, I'm sure. Here he goes. It's not really a blue heron. Is that a blue heron? What is that guy? What are you? You're not a blue heron. You're something else. Are you a type of egret? Oh, you're grabbing some crabs over there, I see. Nice. Nice. Thanks for hanging out with us. Oh, I appreciate it. See if we can get a little photo at the same time here. Just chilling, eating some crabs, little seafood lunch. You got one in your mouth, don't you? Look how pretty you are. Look how pretty you are. You can let me get closer? I won't bother you. Ah, there you go. All right. Thanks for the little chat. I appreciate it. Get back on this side now, on the left. The green side, as we'd say on the river. You know, if you're going downriver, green is on the right and red is on the left. And the phrase you would use is to keep that straight is red, right, returning. So if you're returning up the river, then red is always on your right. So red, right, returning. So going downriver, green is on the right, red is on the left, upriver, reverse it, flip it, smack it, rub it down, you know. Yep, we're heading into, right now it's 2:42. I think the actual low tide at that landing I put in was about 3:12. So we're just short of the actual low tide. It'll slack for a little bit and then start reversing. So it's gonna be a nice little push back in and the water's gonna fill. So we'll miss some of the obstacles we had on the way out. They'll still be there, like I said, but look at this mess over here. So yeah, a lot of this stuff you see right here, maybe not all of it, but a good amount of it. You know, you might see some of these higher branches sticking out of the water when you come by during high tide, but sometimes you'll be going over, you know, like if you're looking out here at the logs over here, sometimes you might be going over the top of them. Just depending on how many feet the tide rises. Usually a general tide out here, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is maybe a 2.5 foot rise during the tide. So you get close, and maybe right over the tips of those if you're on the edge of the river. Of course, that guy straight in front of me right now, you know, you'd still be going under that guy on the corner, but you might have a little bit tighter fit, obviously. Surprisingly, the past few times I've been out going through some of these branches and stuff, I haven't seen any wasp nest or hornet's nest, which is unusual. And I haven't seen any snakes either. You know, I mentioned snakes the last episode, but I haven't seen any that you know, that are visible. I'm sure they're around, but haven't seen any sunbathing. You know, day like today, hot. You think they'd be out kind of laying up on a log somewhere, curled up, chilling. I think you'd see some gators up here too, but usually don't see them until they kind of pass the Oak Brook landing, which we might get down there to that today. Maybe just to the landing. I don't think I'll go too far past that because the tide will start coming back by the time we get to that point, I believe. And then we'll start fighting against a little bit of current. And I really don't feel like doing that much work today. I'm just trying to get out and get some strokes. I like to get some strokes. And sometimes I like to do a lot of strokes. Sometimes I get out and just do, you know, some short strokes. Sometimes it's a long stroke. You know, and you just stroke until you finish, until you feel like you're done. You got another, this is actually a blue heron up here. Coming up on the right. You'll see it. We're coming to it. Try not to be too noisy. You see him, he's just kind of sitting right there. He's going to fly away. We'll get to see a flight. I'm not going to zoom in and do too many things. I'm not going to make this complicated today. I really don't want to be on this side of the river because it's going to be shallow over here on the inside bend, but you can see him walking over there. He's like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Why is he fucking me? Can I just stand here? What's up, buddy? What's going on over there? Can you come say hi? Can you come say hi for a minute? Get as close as I can here before we beach, but I'm just going to keep walking in the opposite direction. Eventually he'll get up and fly. I'm not going to turn the angle too much. We're going to cut across the river here for a second. See if we can spin around and get a different angle. I'm probably talking too low now, you can't even hear me. And now that we got this angle, you can probably see the current is going in the opposite direction. So it's already flipping. Oh yeah, see. What's up, buddy? Yeah, I'm talking about you. I'm talking about you. You're very photogenic. You're very photogenic. How you doing today? You really could kind of see you fly. I don't really want to scare you and make you fly, but where you going? You going up in the woods? You're making me beat you out again. Alright, I guess you're not flying anymore. You're like, fuck you. It's too hot to fly. We gotta go back to the other side of this river because we got some obstacles coming up here. I'll keep filming just so you can see the obstacle. Maybe we'll do another flip right here. Ooh, got some wind kicking up around this corner. Get another look at you, buddy. Hey, smile. Oh, there you go. I'm sorry, I disturbed your day. All right, we'll see you on the return trip there, buddy. Yeah, some good current pushing on me going. This is good practice right here because if I'm going on the Erie Canal, I'm going to be going non-traditionally. I'll be going against a small amount of current and against some decent amount of headwinds from time to time. It's supposed to be winds of about 20 miles an hour gusts today. That felt like a good 12 to 15 mile an hour that just came through right there. Yep, so that's good. Get some good practice paddling against a little bit of current right now. Got some headwinds. I don't have the boat loaded out, so it's going to push me around more than it would, or more than it will once I get packed out. With some weight. Right now, I'm just kind of a leaf in the wind. Over here, if you can see, these banks are starting to slowly fill in, but if you look over here at this tree right here, the bottom of it, you can see where the water has come up. How far it's covered over those branches all along the bank right here. You can see, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if my internal map is correct, pretty sure we're coming up on the Dorchester Colonial State Park over here. There's that cypress coming up right there in front of us. Trying to get back off of the inside bank of this turn here. Yep, lots of fallen trees. These storms have been hell on this river over the past few weeks. Last night was no exception. I wonder how many downed trees we had last night. There was a big cell that pulled over. I don't remember what time it was. 7 p.m., somewhere around there. Like I said, I'm trying to maybe get out to the Oak Brook boat ramp before we turn around and ride this tide back to them, but I think I've got a couple more turns left because we're not quite at the state park yet. I think it's right around the corner up here, I believe. Still no alligators that I've seen. You know, normally you'd see them up here on these banks, like I've mentioned a few times today, but I'll keep mentioning it. And again, if you're out there watching, I appreciate it. I appreciate you. Well, here I was doing a whole video and I hadn't even turned the damn thing on, but coming around this bend right here, and there was a flat-bottomed little fishing boat that came around the corner. I could hear it coming in the distance, hear the engine roaring. I knew he was coming around the corner, so I started working my way to the outside of the turn, which is where he was trying to go, because the outside of the turn, like I said, is the deepest part of the water. So he came barreling around and slowed down, luckily, to where we didn't have a big wake, but A couple guys over here to my left listening to my video. Hey, there's a little bird over here. What's up, buddy? Over here to my left and listening to my video. Looks like they're touring the Dorchester State Park, the Colonial Park, the colonial site where the town of Dorchester was back in the day. Look it up. Pretty interesting. They kind of used this river as a, here comes another boat. They used this river as their line of commerce, you know, for trade and stuff. So here comes another boat. We'll see how fast they slow down. They slowed down immediately. That's what they're supposed to do, to give you the least amount of weight for canoes and kayaks and paddlers, paddle boarders. Kind of nice of it. Hey, thank you. But what I was saying in my other video, when I never pressed play, is they'll come by and they'll slow down too late, and that way you'll get a lot of those little ripples that you just saw the weight from the boat. Or on top of stopping too late, they'll also stop very abruptly. That ends up putting the bow of the boat up a little bit, and it kind of displaces the water and pushes a lot of water towards you. So either one of those are good situations. But if you know how to ride it, it's no big deal. You know, I've had wreck boats that size. I've had you know, regular bass boats. I've had yachts. I've had let's see, tugboats, barges, river boats. The steamboat, you know, with the water wheels in the back, cargo ships. I mean, any boat you can imagine. I've had it come by me, either direction. And you know, there's no way around it. They're gonna cause some displacement in the water. It's gonna come at you. The bigger boats cause a little bit more of a rolling wave, so you'll get, you know, you might have a 4 or 5 foot wave, but it's one of those ones that you can just ride over, a lengthy wave that you just kind of dive over. And then, you know, some of those wreck boats like that, they'll have short, kind of choppy waves, and that's what kind of bounces you around a little bit, and it'll kind of displace you, and it hits you the wrong way, it can actually flip you. The rolling waves, pretty much, you know, from a giant 40, 50 foot yacht or something, or the barges, those waves are just nice and long. You just kind of stay loose and you just ride over them. You can ride them sideways. You can turn and hit them head on, which is what you normally want to do with a wreck boat wave. You want to turn into it. Because like I said, if you don't, they've got a continuous short, choppy waves. You know, it can be a foot, 2 foot, whatever, 2 feet, goddamn, however you say it. And they can kind of flip you, turn your gun wall into the water and kind of take on some water and what have you. But we are coming up on, well, like I said, we're just passing on the left here to Dorchester Colonial State Park. We're getting ready to come up on, matter of fact, we might be on it right now. No, not quite yet, I think. We're coming up on the Dorchester Boat Club. Somewhere, let's see. Yeah, I think it's a little farther up. But anyway, don't be scared of the boats going by. They're going to cause some turmoil, they're going to cause some waves, but if you stay loose and if you turn your boat and hit the wave at the right angle, you know, physics are going to take its course and you're going to be just fine. A lot of stuff that people are scared of on the river, that if you know how to deal with them, whether it be wildlife or boats or barges or weather, or wind, what have you, if you know how to deal with it, if you're educated, then it's no problem. And that's the point I was getting to in the other video before I hit, without hitting the play button, the record button. But, you know, these boats, most of these boaters, it's not like getting your driver's license. You don't go out and you take a driver's test and parallel park and you back up 100 feet and you use signals and telling the inspector, you know, what the signs are that you're looking at, what they mean. You don't take a test, a written test, any of that kind of stuff. You just go out, you buy a boat, and you register it. You know, you pay some money to get a registration, and you put a sticker on it, and you put it out in the water. You have no clue what the fuck you're doing. think they're trying to remedy that. I think if you were born prior to 2007, you're exempt from taking the course. But if you're born after 2007, at least here in South Carolina, you have to take a boating course. And it's just it's an online course. You can do one in person. You can do an actual in-person test, but this is just an online test that you have to pass some questions. And it's about a 3-hour course. I'm going to turn. I'm going to do a flip, and well, for one, I'll give you a shot of this house right here on the side of the river. And for two, I'm going to spin around and give you a shot of the swamp monster. New York, we know where I'm going up to do the canal. You have to actually take a test no matter what your age is. So New York has some different rules. Every state's going to have their own rules. Here is the swamp monster. Oh, decorated him for, you know, the Independence Day that we just had. That's nice. But yeah, if I take the boater's course here in South Carolina, it transfers to New York, so I don't have to retake a New York test. So that it's reciprocal. Is it reciprocal? I think it's called reciprocal. Is the word. To where, you know, a lot of states recognize other states' stuff. This is the Dorchester Boat Club over here. Been to a couple events out there. Pretty nice. Private club. And what else was I saying? Yeah, if I get the boat registered here in South Carolina, which I'll have to do once I put that motor on here, because a motorized, as long as I just got a canoe, kayak, paddleboard, it doesn't have to be registered. But once you add any type of motor to it, a certain amount of horsepower, which mine will have, you have to actually have it registered, and that registration will be enough for me to go to New York as well. It's, again, reciprocal. Well, I think I did it once again. I don't think I hit the record on the thing when I was doing it, but we just went past the Dorchester boat landing, and I showed you the kayak and canoe launch over there, but obviously you didn't see it because I forgot to hit the damn record button again. Looks like they're setting up some kind of event over here at the boat club. But yeah, what I was saying is we got current going back. I just reset a split for my second segment here. We did 68 minutes on the way out, and that was going with the slack tide and then against a little bit of current and wind. So now we're going to ride the current back. We shouldn't have any issues with the bends anymore. There's not going to be a shallow. There's still a shallow end, but I should be able to take either the inside or the outside corner on any of the bends. I do have a little bit of a headwind on this particular stretch right here, but it's kind of wide open right here. And the current's going back in, so 68 minutes on the way out, and that was without starting it immediately, so probably about 70 minutes. So we're going to see what the second split is and how fast we get back. All right, we're going to spin around here, try and get you a shot of one of the walls of the city here in Dorchester State Park, Colonial State Park. They changed the name over the years. So this is it right here. We have a bunch of things, but mainly I think oyster shells is one of the main components of this walled city inside the fort here. Fort Dorchester. What's up? There's a little buddy right there. Another little guy. What are you? What are you? Oh, see that little fish jump right in front of the boat? What you searching for over there? Crabs? I saw one of your buddies earlier was eating some crabs. All right, we're gonna leave you alone. Will give me 5? Can you give me 5? Well, you only got 3, it looks like. Can you give me 3? All right. We're moving on. We're moving on. I see you over there. All right. Have a good day, buddy. How's it going? All right. Yeah, we're getting pretty close. We're starting to contact a lot of the short mileage paddlers. I think these are the same guys who were out here painting earlier. Yeah, that was the same boaters and paddle boarders from earlier, so they just got a little sifter and they just trudge the bottom of the river and pull it up. And one girl put it on the front of her paddle board and just sifting through it, trying to see if they could find shark's teeth or whatever other trinket you might come in contact with. Sifting through layers of river that have been flowing here forever. Essentially sifting through the sands of time, you know. I think I either have somebody coming towards me, or these guys started up and are coming back up from behind me. But I hear a motor. We're not quite close enough where we can hear the Baker's Bridge Road traffic yet. But we're getting close. Boater I passed earlier, he passed me coming from the Oakbrook Landing. He's turned around at an obstacle there. He's got a kind of a double hulled boat that he was in. You probably saw him pass once before with the kids and his wife. But he said, "Man, you're ripping it through here." I was like, "Yeah." Pretty good little hybrid boat, and of course, you know, we're going with the current now, so it'll move when you want it to. Goes pretty straight for the most part. Like I said, you put some weight in the front and it's a little truer still, but here we go. Coming up on the, I'll just go ahead and keep the recording, I guess. Now we've got the Ashley River Park site on our right. Sometimes people hanging out on the banks up here, looking at the river. Got the Brakens Bridge right up in front of us. Looks like somebody just pulling off the river there to the right, and one's coming up underneath the bridge and be pulling off here directly. Might be a little traffic jam, but takeout put in. Pretty good time on the river. You know, we're at 2 hours and 3 minutes now. Like I said, when I did the flip around, it was 68 minutes. So we did a lot of gag on the way back, but we spun around a few times, took a picture of a few things, talked to some animals, and We cut off 15 minutes, I guess, on the way back, but looks like those guys got some sifting mats as well. They probably looking for some shark's teeth too. It seems like that's the popular thing around here. We'll get up here and say hello, and then we'll cut you off, and I'll go see if I can slice all this together. After saying I wasn't going to do a video on the river, I figured, hell, I've got enough little snippets. I can splice them together, put some pictures in between, or either put them at the end and put a little video together. Why not? Haven't done any content in a while, and I will do a lot of content. Alright. We will talk to you soon, guys. And now we are here, slightly past the Dorchester Boat Club. We are here at the Oakbrook Landing. I'm not sure the official name of it is. I call it the Oakbrook Landing. I think that's what most people call it, but I think there's an actual official name. Somebody's over here putting the boat in. I'll kind of just give you a look, a glancing look here. Got some nice picnic tables. Got a nice little fishing dock right there. Got a boat launch, two-sided boat launch over here, so two people can get in at once, get out at once. One can get in, one can get out, what have you. Parking area up there, you park the trailer. And then if you look over here to the left, there's an actual kayak launch. Thought somebody was whistling at me. Most of the damn birds. But if you look over here, right there, there's an actual canoe and kayak launch right there. So you can walk your boat down that ramp. You can put in on these little wheels. Got some wheels up here on the dock, the floating dock. And then you can use the handrails to kind of project yourself out. And then if you go up the canal here, that's actually goes on to the Saw Branch Trail. So that's the Saw Branch Canal. Obviously, we're going to hit that. And as you can see, right up in front of us, you can see the current is going the opposite direction now. So now we're going to have a nice easy time going back. The tide's coming in, the water's going to get deeper. Won't have to be too concerned anymore about the inside and outside curves, and we're going to have some current to push us back. So that took us roughly 68 minutes, probably 70, because I didn't start the tracker right away. So we'll do a split time here, and if we split it, let's see if I can do a split. A couple boats passing us. Some waves in. That boat to have enough side wave to kind of do any damage to you. Kind of take it from the side. You know, sometimes I like to take it from the side. Maybe give her from the side, maybe not take her from the side. But you know, some nice exhaust, that's always fun. It'd be better if they had some electric boats. My motor is going to be electric. Like I said, it's going to be a lithium phosphate 16 volt motor. 50 amp hours, I believe, is what it's going to be. So should, sparingly using it, because I'm going to paddle the canal. The only time I'm going to use it is if I think I'm getting into trouble and I can't really, without wearing myself out and becoming a danger to myself, I might kick it in just to kind of get through some heavy headwinds. My biggest concern, it wasn't really in between the locks, because there's 35 locks. From what I've seen, there's 35 locks that I'll go through. Of course, I'll be stepping up, going east to west. I'll be stepping up in locks to be gaining elevation into an upper pool as you go along. And I was trying to hear if that boat was coming back, but I think that was the same one going out. And so yeah, I'll go through those locks. But the biggest concern I have is a place called Lake Oneida, something like that. And it is actually a lake about midway through the canal that you have to go through. I think it's about 4 miles wide and 22-ish miles long. So I'll be going across that, and the winds will be kind of a headwind. So that will be what I'll mainly use the motors for, is just in case I get into any trouble going across that lake, because it'll be a full day paddle going across there. So you're talking, 20 miles, you're talking 2 miles an hour, so you're talking a 10-hour day if you're just kind of straight paddling. If I can get a little bit of extra oomph across there, I can maybe hit 3 or 4 miles an hour, and I can cut that time down quite significantly. And now, we're looking at September as far as the paddle, so you're losing daylight. So it's not going to be like a summer paddle on the Mississippi River where you got, 12 hours, 13 hours to paddle. Now you're looking at a shorter window of time. So I might need a little bit of help, a little bit of assistance, just to do it in a timely manner. I could do it under my own power. But the point is to do it safely and not to run into any issues. So I don't want to get out there, I'm 18 miles across this damn lake, although I can, get to shore in a pretty short amount of time, but there ain't gonna be a whole lot on the shore from what I see. So to get from one end to the other, I want to make sure I got enough time. And if I'm running out of time, I've got a backup plan where I can kind of speed things up a little bit if I need to, Those are the kayakers I passed a while back. I didn't think anybody else would come out this far. Like I say, you had to get through a few obstacles and some shallow water. And, those guys kind of surprised me because they're not even using traditional kayak paddles in those kayaks. They're using canoe paddles. So, just a single-sided instead of double-sided kayak paddle. Anyway, I don't think I'll see any of the rest of the people that I passed on the way up here. I think they pulled out of the river long ago, especially the ones that I met at the landing as I was about to launch. I launched right before them. They were pumping up an inflatable, and they were asking about alligators. And when I told them, yeah, you see alligators, it looked like the guy almost decided they weren't going to put on the river, but I convinced them the alligators weren't going to bother. That was perfectly fine. I'm assuming they put on, but they might have got to those first couple obstacles, and because they weren't inflatable, they might have said, let's not chance going through here, although most inflatables are pretty sturdy. I mean, you look at whitewater rafting, right? I mean, all those boats are inflatables. They're highly durable, and those bounce off of sharp rocks and occasional log here and there and whatever. So inflatables are pretty sturdy. I'd trust an inflatable, to go all the way down the Mississippi River, really. Oh yeah, it's flowing good now. Which, I thought about this Erie Canal thing, and I thought, maybe I should go west to east, but what's the fun in that? What's the challenge in that? A lot of people do that. I don't know if I said it the last podcast, but about 15 to 90 people go west to east for the entire 363 miles per year annually, and only about 2 to 10 people go the other direction annually. So I'd be in a very small percentage of the population, much less the percentage of paddlers that have done the east to west route. It's kind of the same thing with the Mississippi. I mean, less people do the Mississippi River than do Everest every year, source to sea. So it's a very small, minute group that do some of these things. All right, let's turn you back off. I might not turn you back on until we get back to the landing. All right, peace.